In Brazil, two men found a metallic capsule in an abandoned clinic. Thinking they could sell it as a scrap metal, they took it with them. Later, the same capsule led to the demise of 4 people and contaminated 249 people. This is a true story of the Gôiania accident. On September 13, 1987, it was a hot summer day in the bustling neighborhood of Seto Central. Two young scrap metal collectors, Roberto dos Santos Alves and Wagner Mota Pereira, stumbled upon an abandoned medical clinic. Curiosity led them to pry open the door and illegally enter the partially demolished site, revealing a room filled with peculiar objects. Among them was a teletherapy unit. They partially disassembled the unit and placed its source assembly in a wheelbarrow to later take to Alves' home, thinking they might get some scrap value for the unit. Back at their small house, they started disassembling the unit. That same evening, they both began to vomit, and the following day, Pereira experienced diarrhea and dizziness, with his left hand starting to swell. He later developed a severe burn on his hand and had to go under partial amputation of several fingers. On September 15th, Pereira visited a local clinic, where his symptoms were diagnosed due to a foodborne illness. He was told to return home and rest. However, Alves continued with his efforts to dismantle the equipment and eventually found a silver capsule. On September 16, Alves punctured the capsule's transparent window with a screwdriver, discovering a blue powder that glowed in the dark, resembling an oddity from a sci-fi movie. In the days that followed, Alves and Pereira took the capsule to several different places, showing it to people in the market, park, and even in the church. They even sold some of the blue powder to people who thought it was a magic charm. On September 18th, Alves sold the item to a nearby scrapyard. That night, where Alves Pereira, the scrapyard owner, noticed the blue glow from the punctured capsule. Thinking the capsule's contents were valuable or supernatural, he immediately brought it into his house and stored it in his garage. A few days later, Pereira's wife, Gabriela Maria Pereira, opened the garage door and saw a blue glow coming from the capsule. She was curious about what it was, so she touched it. Over the next 3 days, he invited friends and family to view the strange glowing substance. A few more days later, Gabriela started to feel sick, and her skin began to blister. She was taken to the hospital, but she died a few days later. Days passed, and the people who came into contact with the mysterious capsule began to suffer from strange symptoms. Nausea, headache, and burns started to appear, initially mistaken for common illness. Panic swept through the community as more people fell ill, and rumors of the glowing blue object spread like wildfire. On September 25, 1987, Deveer Pereira sold the scrap metal to a third scrapyard. But the day before the sale to the third scrapyard, on September 24th, Ivo, Deveer's brother, successfully scraped some additional dust out of the source and took it into his house a short distance away. There, he spread some of it on the concrete floor. His 6-year-old daughter later ate an egg sandwich while sitting on the same floor. She was also fascinated by the blue glow of the powder. Thinking she was playing with fairy dust, she applied the powder to her body and showed it off to her mother. A day after playing with the fairy dust, she started to feel sick, and 2 days later, she was admitted to a hospital. When an international team arrived to treat her, she was discovered confined to an isolated room in the hospital because the staff were afraid to go near her. She gradually experienced swelling in the upper body, hair loss, kidney and lung damage, and internal bleeding. She died on October 23, 1987. What was that glowing blue powder? An orphan source is a radioactive source that is no longer under regulatory control. This could be because the source has been abandoned, lost, or stolen. The capsule, unbeknownst to all of them, contained about 93 grams of highly radioactive cesium chloride, a cesium salt made with a radioisotope cesium-137, encased in a shielding canister made of lead and steel. It had been abandoned by the clinic's owner during a move, completely forgotten and left to fate. The young collectors had unknowingly released a silent yet deadly menace into their community. They were exposing themselves and everyone around them to a lethal dose of radiation. The invisible and sinister force was already at work, seeping into their body like an insidious poison. Caesium-137 is an artificial or man-made radioactive isotope of cesium. It is produced as a byproduct of nuclear fission, which occurs in nuclear reactors. Caesium-137 has a half-life of about 30 years, meaning it takes 30 years for half of the Caesium-137 atoms in a sample to decay into other elements. During its decay process, it emits harmful ionizing radiation. Caesium-137 has been utilized in various fields, primarily in medical and industrial applications. In medicine, it was once used in radiotherapy machines for treating cancer. It emits gamma radiation, which can be directed at cancerous tumors to destroy cancer cells. However, due to the risks associated with handling radioactive materials, safer alternatives have replaced Caesium-137 in modern medical practices. One characteristic of Caesium-137 is its ability to emit gamma radiation, which is a high-energy form of electromagnetic radiation. When the atoms of Caesium-137 undergo radioactive decay, they release gamma rays. These gamma rays can interact with certain materials to produce a faint blue glow, known as Cherenkov radiation. This phenomenon occurs when charged particles, such as electrons, travel through a transparent medium at a speed faster than light can propagate in that medium. The emitted light is not dangerous itself, but it serves as a visible indicator of the presence of ionizing radiation. The major concern with Caesium-137 is its radioactivity. Gamma radiation emitted during the decay process can penetrate living tissues, causing damage to cells and DNA. When individuals come into close contact with a significant amount of Caesium-137, they may experience acute radiation sickness, which can lead to symptoms such as nausea, vomiting, burns, diarrhea, fatigue, weakness, fever, headache, skin irritation, hair loss, bleeding, bruising, infections, dehydration, organ dysfunction, and in a lot of cases, death. Time magazine has identified the accident as one of the world's worst nuclear disasters, and the International Atomic Energy Agency called it one of the world's worst radiological incidents. The Gôiania Accident stands as a haunting reminder of the devastating consequences that can arise from mishandling radioactive materials. What started as an innocent curiosity and the discovery of a seemingly alluring metallic capsule soon turned into a tragedy that claimed lives and left a lasting impact on an entire community.